Help me to reach 2,000 subscribers. The laughter that night wasn't just loud, it was cutting. Every giggle, every teasing whisper from my wife's friends felt like small blades scraping against my patience. Come on, Emma, one of them said, swirling her wine. You have to admit, if David ever messed up, you've got your backup husband already lined up. Laughter rippled around the table. Even Emma laughed. That soft, melodic laugh I used to love. Now it sounded cruel. I stared at her, waiting for her to shut it down, to say something like, "Don't joke about that." But she didn't. She leaned closer to Mark, my supposed best friend, and smirked. Backup husband? I said, forcing a smile. Should I be worried? Mark looked at me, the corners of his mouth twitching. Relax, man. Just a joke. You know I'd never. Yeah. I interrupted, my voice tight. Just a joke. But something inside me cracked. It wasn't what they said, it was how natural it seemed, how everyone around that table reacted like it was an inside joke I'd never been let in on. That night, the air between Emma and me was thick. She hummed as she cleaned up the kitchen, acting as if nothing had happened. I leaned against the counter, watching her. Do you think they were out of line? I asked. She looked over her shoulder. You mean the backup husband joke? God, David, you're not actually upset about that, are you? I just think it's strange they'd say that. About Mark. She rolled her eyes. We've all known each other for years. Don't be paranoid. I wanted to believe her. I really did. But paranoia has a scent, it lingers. The next few weeks were quiet, too quiet. Emma started working late. Mark started dropping by more often, helping fix little things around the house. Things that didn't even need fixing. One evening I came home early. Their cars were both in the driveway. My heart pounded. I opened the door silently, half expecting to find chaos inside. But instead they were sitting in the living room, drinking wine, laughing. David, she said, startled. You're home early. Yeah. Thought I'd surprise you. Mark grinned, but his voice cracked slightly. We were just catching up. Talking about the party next week. Right, I said, pretending not to notice the tension in the room. Party talk. That night, while Emma showered, I stared at her phone on the nightstand. The screen lit up, Mark's name. A message preview. Had a great time tonight. Wish we could have stayed longer. My throat went dry. I didn't open it. I couldn't. Because once you cross that line, you can't come back. I told myself it was innocent. Friends can talk. Friends can joke. But jokes start wars. 2 weeks later, the housewarming party they'd been planning took place at Mark's new apartment. Everyone was there. Our mutual friends, neighbors, even Emma's coworkers. I watched them the whole night. The way she leaned in when he spoke. The way he touched her arm when she laughed. It was subtle but unmistakable. Then came that moment. Hey, where's your backup husband? One of the women teased Emma, giggling. Emma smirked and nodded toward Mark. Right there, as always. More laughter. But this time Mark didn't laugh. He looked uncomfortable, guilty even. I stood up, raised my glass and said, well, maybe it's time we made it official. The room went silent. David, Emma said, her smile fading. What are you doing? I turned to Mark. You want to be the main husband, don't you, Mark? Go ahead. Take her. Gasps filled the room. Someone tried to laugh it off, but I kept my eyes locked on Mark's. David, that's not funny, Emma said, her voice trembling. Neither was your joke, I said quietly. For months. Mark stood up, hands raised. Nothing happened, man. You're taking this way out of. But I interrupted, pulling my phone from my pocket. I'd already seen enough. Texts, deleted photos, messages she thought were gone. Screenshots were forever. I placed the phone on the table. The screen lit up with the thread of their messages. The crowd murmured. Emma's face went pale. David, please. I stepped closer. You called him your real partner. You said I was just routine. She started to cry, but I wasn't angry anymore. I was hollow. Maybe you were right, I said softly. Maybe he should be your husband now. I turned to Mark, my voice low, steady. You always wanted what I had. Now you've got it. I'm done. I left the party. Drove for hours with no destination. The city blurred past in streaks of neon and rain. My chest felt tight, my hands numb. Every thought screamed, how did we get here? I remembered our wedding day. How she'd cried during her vows. How she promised I was her forever. Maybe she believed it then. Maybe we both did. But forever ends quietly, one joke, one text, one secret at a time. I parked by the river. The water shimmered under the streetlights. I sat there until dawn, thinking about how love turns into something unrecognizable when trust bleeds out of it. When I finally went home, the house was empty. Her things were gone. There was a note on the counter. David, I never meant for it to happen. You pulled away long before I did. Mark just listened. I'm sorry. Please don't hate me. I folded it carefully and set it aside. Hate wasn't what I felt. Not anymore. What I felt was relief because for the first time in years I saw the truth clearly. Love without respect isn't love. It's habit. A month later I ran into Mark at a cafe. He looked exhausted. Emma left, he said before I even asked. She said she needs space. I guess she didn't want either of us. I almost laughed. Guess you weren't meant to be the main husband after all, I said, finishing my coffee. As I walked out, I realized something profound. Betrayal doesn't destroy you instantly. It carves you slowly, until the pain becomes part of who you are. But once it's done cutting, you start to heal. And I did. Not perfectly. Not quickly. But honestly. Because sometimes the worst ending is the only way to begin again.